Good afternoon. Week 3 at the Iowa State Capitol and the 2020 legislative session is rounding down. This has been a particularly busy week as legislators started to unveil how much money they wanted to put into public education through the supplemental state aid rate and transportation and district cost per pupil equity. In addition, we had our Day on the Hill. Special thanks to all of you who took the time to come to our Day on the Hill, come to the Capitol, and advocate on behalf of Iowa schools. It was a great day. We got a lot of good contacts made, a lot of good information, and it's really encouraging to see so many of you bringing board members and teachers and administrators to join in the effort to further our advocacy agenda. 3 things that you need to know about this week and looking forward into next week. Number 1, SSA equity and district cost per pupil equity and transportation equity. The House came out with their proposal of 2.5%, which mirrors the governor's. They are proposing a $10 increase in the district cost per pupil equity payment and fully funding, bringing everyone down to the statewide average on the transportation equity payment. On the Senate side, they came out with a 2.1% SSA rate, a $10 increase in the district cost per pupil equity payment, and actually a little bit, about $400,000 more than the House put into the transportation equity payment, which, if becomes law, would mean that all districts would get a little bit of money toward their general fund transportation costs. Those bills came out of subcommittee today and will be considered by the full education committee in the Senate next week, and as well as the full education committee in the House next week. So we're looking like we can actually make that February 13th deadline. I still maintain that I think at the end of the day we will be at 2.5% as our growth rate. Number 2, policy bills are starting to move. Both committees are planning to try to move as many policy bills that have support to move quickly so that we don't get bunched up when the first funnel deadline moves around in the middle of February. And so we're having a lot of subcommittees on those and a lot of discussion. They range from everything to things that we really like increasing our ability to pay for school resource officers, to things that we're strongly opposed to, like a mandate that a student must have a certification in Stop the Bleed before they can graduate, or a mandate that there must be somebody trained in every building to be able to administer care to somebody having a seizure. And then there's a lot of things in between. Finally, I want to just highlight one bill that could really use your assistance. Senator Sinclair introduced legislation that will be considered by the full Senate committee next week that would allow districts with an instructional support levy to exceed the 10% cap if those expenses were going to be used for a school resource officer. So this is a great piece of legislation. It really opens up some funding opportunities because we know that those are difficult decisions to make. You'd like to have a school resource officer, but you also need teachers in the classroom. And we'd really like to see this bill move forward. So please pay attention on our advocacy page to the action request and touch base with your senators, and also talk with your representatives about why this is important and how it would help your school district.